After watching Boyhood, I was able to come up with 3 different concepts that we have learned throughout class that I felt correlated with the movie. The first was the formal operational stage. So this stage kind of describes how children begin to think more logically and more abstract. And this happens between the ages of 11 to 15. The example in the movie that I thought of was just in general how Mason really likes to think about the world in a bigger picture, and he just has big ideas about the way the world works, and he begins to think in a more abstract way, so much to the point that a girl makes fun of him for it. And this leads me to my next concept, self-esteem. I think that Mason's self-esteem is affected throughout the movie, even if it's just a little. Starting from the point early on when he gets made fun of for getting his hair cut. He loved his long hair, and his mom's husband made him cut it, even though he didn't want to. And after he got it cut, all the elementary kids, when he went to school, all the elementary kids just laughed and giggled and kind of just stared at him and made fun of him, but a girl did tell him that she liked his haircuts, but still, people were laughing at him. I just kind of feel like that stuff kind of sticks with you throughout life, just being made fun of when you're younger. So that was a smaller example of self-esteem throughout the movie, but a bigger example is when he spills out his ideas about the world to Sheena, and she kind of just thinks it's funny and laughs about it. And I was just wondering if that affected Mason's self-esteem and just made him feel weird, or I don't know. Another example where I thought self-esteem was clearly found was when Mason confronted Sheena about the big news going around the school that she was with another guy after Mason and her had just had sex, and they were planning to go to prom together. And he kind of just confronted her about how that made him feel and how it hurt him. And she said, she's like, you shouldn't care what people think about you. And he says, I don't care what people think about me. I care about what I think about myself. And so I just really thought that was a self-esteem thing. And lastly, I correlated indulgent parenting with the movie. So indulgent parenting is a style in which parents are highly involved with their child's life, but yet they don't always keep track of them the best, or they're just really lenient. And I think, though, it's important to mention that Olivia is a good mom in the movie, but I just think that sometimes she was a little preoccupied with other things, like getting her master's degree, and she was very involved with men, and she was always divorcing and remarrying, and I just kind of felt like that took over a lot of her mind a lot of the time. So she still cared about her kids, but anyway, I'll move on to the examples. First example is when Mason comes home from being with his friends, and keep in mind he's only 15 at this time. He comes in and his mom's just like, where were you? And asked him other questions, and he just kind of says how he was drinking a little and he was smoking a little, and she doesn't really say much or seem to care, but he's 15 years old. And then some other examples are like when he asked to go camping with him and his friends, and she kind of just asked some questions but wasn't too strict about it, and she let him go. And little did she know they were drinking and doing some other things that they shouldn't have been doing. And so I just thought she was kind of extremely involved with her schooling, which she should be, and men, which I thought she didn't have to have a man. But yeah, that's my 3 concepts that I found.